Hey everybody, it's Tim. I play Cal on this show, Advantage in Paradise. We're going to be with you shortly. We're having technical difficulties is a little strong. I would say we can blame like the power grid down where Shannon lives, and we could blame Clayton for some random bullshit. I do not know what he's doing. But the rest of us are here, and we're going to be with you really just momentarily. I'm filling time because Sean also was having some issues and is now getting ready. I'm looking at him on my own screen. Get ready. He's giving me the thumbs up, so I'm going to pass it over to him. I think we're good to go, Alex. So thanks for joining us. I'll see you in a bit. Woo!
Woo!
All right. Are we up? Or is it still just audio?
What? No, we're good.
All right.
So as you can see, Shannon's screen is on fire because her little situation is on fire. So that's what we're dealing with here. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah.
So
Take it away.
That is Scarlet for now. Hopefully Shannon will get her power back on. So for the last hour or so, her power has been out, so she hasn't been able to get on. But we're in constant communication with her, so hopefully we'll get her on here. Hopefully sooner rather than later, but she'll jump on when she can. Yes, that is exactly what Scarlet looks like, a brooding fire. But no,
I don't know if you've seen Shannon recently, but at least yesterday she looked like that too. Like she was just was like a constant combustion.
Yeah. It's been rough for her with stuff going online, but hopefully she'll be on soon. But for now, we'll just jump into the show and bring her in when we can. So as always, our audio is provided by Tabletop Audio and Sirenscape, and our music is licensed through Soundstripe.com. All great services. But we'll save social media shout-outs, hopefully for when Shannon gets on. I'm sure she's got plenty.
I can make them up.
Yeah, I can make them up too.
Okay. I'd rather not.
Yeah, how about at Know Your Role in the chat? Boom.
That's true. We'll just say whoever's in chat right now.
Thanks for watching. Not a space lizard. Thanks for watching.
Friends of the show, good people. All right, so we'll just jump right in to where we were last week. We come together for a peculiar story of 5 strangers who've become fast allies as they venture in the lands of Tressex within the Trinwald Quintarchy. Their bond solidified as they freed the sacred town of Maginset from the grips of a corrupted archdruid, being influenced by what seemed to be a relic of a dark god known as the Pallid King. Through investigation, battle, and near death, you defeated both the druid and the mysterious stranger in yellow, influencing him. In the process, the dark relic known as the Pallid Mask was destroyed, but evidence points towards this not being the only one. Free of the poison of the archdruid, the town of Maginset was taken over by the general, Aldrich Kinsley, meant to bring order to these mismanaged lands. He evacuated Maginset's population to the fortress of Driftmarch to the north. You are to meet him there, now that you've destroyed the Pallid Mask. On this journey, you stopped in the small hamlet of Bracklin Glen. Here you found stubborn villagers that refused to leave with Kinsley's garrison. He left a retainer here to guide and protect the town. This Lieutenant Horace asked you to help with a matter before leaving the hamlet. You took this mission, though reticent at first. A young woman had gone missing after she sought after her missing horses. Farmers have reported livestock stolen away by little green men. You found these little green men were bullywugs, led by a marrow and a strange old man with little grip on reality, it would seem. You stormed their hideout behind the waterfall, freed the prisoners, and fought off a young Hydra in the process. The Hydra had towered over you with 12 heads ready to devour, but due to some of Wiswick's necrotic magic, Huron's spiritual guardians, and the precision of Cal's rapier, the creature fell before it could fully regenerate its form, its flesh slewing away from its bones. In the aftermath, You recovered the missing woman and another young man who had been taken away. As you caught your breath and investigated the old mage leading the bullywugs, Timber found a strange black pearled diadem upon his brow that he made sure not to touch with his own hands. But perhaps even more dangerous than a potentially dark item was Wiswick. He saw that there was a deeper cavern from whence the Hydra slithered. He dove into these waters and found a wide, water-filled hollow littered with bones and floating flesh fragments. Piercing from the upper side of the cavern was a spike of obsidian black jutting out. He instinctually investigated where he found a scintillating purple light around the base of this spike, reminding him of the murals of the spire and the barrows you had ventured in previously. His curiosity was piqued. After a brief experiment with his pickaxe that was sucked through the purple light, he dove in after it and felt himself stretched and compressed through space and time. It felt like an eternity to Wiswick before he was spat out onto the obsidian ledge. Soaked to the bone with the previous cavern's water and next to his pickaxe, he looked up to see the towering spire from the mural above, and an iron door up a small set of steps bathed in light. It was at this moment he turned and looked to see behind him over the ledge was a vast astral sea before him. Writhing clouds of pinks, purples, oranges, blues roiled through a vacuous, dark twilight sky littered with innumerable stars, going on for infinity. Wiswick had arrived somewhere in between, within and without, before the great spire of Magicset lost to antiquity. And that's where we left off. So, Wiswick, what would you like to do?
I think so the spire is off in the distance. Is it the exact identical spire from what I've seen, or would it be the one that I saw in the picture?
I would say give me a history check for that.
Okay, that's 1d20 on the floor.
And if you would like, Alex, you can open up the battle cam at this point so folks can see a visual reference.
Sure thing.
Ooh.
I rolled a 19, Sean.
Actually, let me just combat camera this.
Yeah, let's do it. 19. So what you see, Wiswick, so in front of you is a ledge that leads up to the doorway. The doorway is attached to what looks like to you from here, at least the base of the spire, because you see a lot of it towers above you, hundreds of feet above you. You can get some glimpses of sections of the tower that are just sort of ripped off the side, fragmented into pieces floating around it. And you can see sections of it are just entirely gone. Like, it looks almost as if someone laser cut an entire section out. Save for this sort of degeneration, it's the closest thing you've ever seen to a massive spire that looked just like the one in the murals.
I think that a little injured from his trip, he's hesitant to enter right away. So he reaches down, picks up his pickaxe, notices that he's like soaked to the bone, and he tries like just like cleaning himself off a little bit. Like, I don't know if that lava down there is lava or astral sea.
No, so from what I don't have an astral map, so it's the closest thing I have. But if you wanted to look over the actual edge down, you can. What you would see, if you peek over the edge, you would see that parts of the tower go beneath this ledge. And there's no lava. It's not lava. It's literally just as if a massive degenerating tower was floating in space, essentially. When you look below you, the tower keeps going and it has similar fragmentations burned off of it, but it disappears into a cloud of stardust.
Okay. Wiswick's very like his heart is beating and like pumping really fast, but he's keeping his composure. He's like trying to like maybe even doing some breathing exercises that he saw Cal doing during his calisthenics. Just trying to calm himself down and like keep a level head despite like the very terrible situation he finds himself in, and he's gonna head forward towards the tower and just cautiously travel with his magic spellbook in hand,
Okay.
looking out for danger.
So,
yes,
yeah, go ahead.
I'm just like, my thought process is, if I could find that crack again, maybe I could get sent back home. But first of all, something must have brought me here. Like, if I could find out what, maybe I could find another way back. Like, I gotta get out of here. This was not what I wanted.
Yeah. So you start to slowly, clutching at your spell book and your pickaxe, you start ascending the steps. And as you ascend around, you can sort of feel this place is cold and dark, and though you can breathe, it feels short and hard to keep the air in your lungs. There's this sort of grim blue light that shifts every now and then to green and purple and pink and orange back all around, emanates around this tower. To continue with all of our Minas Morgul, or our Lord of the Rings references, it's very much like the lights around Minas Morgul. You ascend the steps, and in the center of the steps, you can see where the stairs turn around. There's a statue floating in the middle. Beneath it, Astral Sea and the tower descending. The statue floats in the center, and it is a man holding up a staff with a hand out towards the Astral Sea, as if holding it at bay. It looks, as best you can tell, since the painting was damaged, it looks a lot like the Archmage in the portrait in the barrow. You ascend, and as you get to the top of the stairs, these two braziers on the left and right erupt at your presence, and you look and you see a door open, just barely. And there's just a green light emanating from it. Dim.
I go up to the door, and I slowly, like, at first I'm gonna like, I'm about to push it open, and then I think better. I think to knock first.
So, Wiswick, you knock on this iron door in the middle of the Astral Sea, and the sound is dull and almost vacuumous when you knock, and you can barely hear your own knocking. The door is open just a sliver, but no answer when you knock.
I stick my head through the crack in the door, and I say, "Is anybody home?"
Once you stick your head inside, it almost feels like pressure leaves your head. Sort of the strange feeling of being out on this ledge disappears a little bit. And your voice echoes through this chamber and bounces back at you, anyone inside, and you hear nothing. No response. Looking in, you can see there are 4 green lanterns, not unlike the ones you've seen underground in Tressex. And you see in the center of the room ignited sigils across a circle.
Okay. I'm gonna keep pushing forward. Oh, jeez.
Oh, jeez. What happened? I'll switch out.
Yeah, switch out of it. Looks like my webcam got messed up for a sec. It's all right.
Anything that can go wrong will go wrong tonight. Everyone,
Yes,
so.
no, everything will go wrong tonight.
Get them all into the
technical
I
glitches
am so
will
sorry.
happen.
Guys, fuck up for a couple hours.
Wiswick, why don't you give me a perception check?
Yeah, I would like to look around for sure. Oh, well, I love perception checks. I got a 6.
You guys might get a double view of me for a second.
Ooh la la.
Pretty.
Okay. Well, we'll figure that out later.
No combat today.
Okay. So, what'd you get in your perception check?
6.
Hard to see, even with your dark vision. It seems as though there's sort of a dampening of darkness in here. It might be magical to a certain extent, not just because there's not really a lot of natural light coming in at all. It's mostly magical light. You can see there's this small raised dais where there's some sigils glowing. And you can see in the back 2 green lights that just barely you can see the outline of something back there that looks like it has 2 legs and 2 arms, or 2 legs and 1 arm. And it looks like it's standing there. It might be a statue or something else.
Okay, I think I've kind of already blew up my spot with my welcoming myself in, so I slowly approach, avoiding the sigils, just being very careful around that area, maybe taking a little bit of a closer look as I approach, to see if the sigils resemble anything such as the symbols that I saw in the opening door, that I had the 3 runes that we used to open a door in the other Archmaester's runes, or perhaps something else that I saw in there. Any of those ancient languages, maybe the ones on the giant, the stone golem.
Yeah, go ahead and give me the give me a Arcana check.
All right. Oh my god, I'm so good tonight. I rolled a 13. That's a 3 plus 10.
Oh, wow. Okay, so with that high of an Arcana check, you kind of step forward and you start looking at this circle. Once you get close to the circle, you sort of, you hear the dull of the ruins themselves, and you look down, and it's not unlike it looks very similar to the destroyed teleportation circle you saw in the Barrows, except intact. You look up around at this point, and you can see that there are so you can see in the back now, because you're closer in, you can see that the structure is a lot like those Colossus that you fought in the Barrow. It is very large and tall. It has nondescript features, except this one is not like sort of just a golem-looking thing. Its head is in the center of its chest with a large kind of hump on its back, all made of metal with overlapping plates all around. You see one of its arms is completely missing, like ripped off entirely, nowhere to be seen. You see the other arm has this massive shield attached to it with 3 spikes at the end, where the fist would be of this construct.
Mm-hmm.
And its legs are firmly planted in the ground, and it's just standing there with its head down. Its head looks like a soldier's helmet, and it has several runes that are dusty and covered in cobweb. There's no spiders out here, maybe. But it's covered in dusty runes. It looks like it hasn't been activated or even touched in years. On the left and right side, you see murals again. You see one that looks like the depiction of a river valley leading down. There's a great hillside view with several trees and forests, and you see a moving river through that stops at a very large dam that looks nothing like any dam you've ever seen. It looks massive. It looks much larger than a traditional dam, and it looks like it's made of a dark obsidian that's blocking up the river. And then you see kind of amongst the hills are dotted with barrows. Little small structures that you can sort of identify as similar to the barrows you all found before.
Okay.
On the right side, you see a mural that depicts a very frightening-looking fortress made of a similar black stone that is at the center of a bridge. On either side of the bridge are two smaller fortresses, and the bridge has arched holes moving through it, where there is a massive waterfall coming through. And you can see behind the fortress is a river that leads to the fortress, and another river that leads towards the fortress. And it's sort of this impossibly structured fort built against the side of a waterfall where two rivers meet and where several rapids exist. It has a tall tower in the center with a spiked battlement at the top, and several. It's not as big as the spire looked, but it's a very large fortress that doesn't look like any of the large forts you may have seen in your time in the surface world. And you see in front of both of them, illuminating them very slightly, are what look like a hole in a glass window, glowing a purple color, sort of little cracked fragments of reality. And you see in the center of the teleportation circle another cracked fragment of reality.
If I go up to the one of those cracked fragments, I'm not really sure if it's like a hole or like it's a hole that leads into like the astral sea type area, like just like nothingness.
Okay. So when you see them, they don't emanate necessarily the same color as all three of them emanate a gold color, a very dull gold glow. And it literally looks like, say, there's just sort of like a fragmented hole with several cracks leading off of it, as if reality was a pane of glass. There are three of them.
Can I try sticking the not business end of the pickaxe into one of the holes? The first one, far left.
Far left? Okay.
Yeah.
When you bring the pickaxe up to it, you kind of get closer. You can see this mural of these barrows and this large dam. And you can kind of see in the distance now that you're closer a very small town built sort of, you see just a little tower sticking up with a bell at the top, some smokestacks coming off of it, off in the distance, probably several miles from this dam and the hills with the barrows.
So it's actually like moving the mural.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like when you move, the mural shifts with your perspective. But when you stick your pickaxe up to the light, and it's gone.
The pickaxe is gone?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. Shit! Is there any other entrances in this room?
Give me an investigation check.
Okay.
For those of you who came in late, Shannon is dealing with a power outage, and hopefully she'll be able
Take
to
a
join
drink.
us at some point.
Everybody drink!
What'd you get?
I got a 12.
you start moving around, and you kind of moving around, casing the joint, looking at the walls, looking for some representation of another entrance out. But it looks as though there's no other entrance or exit to this chamber. You kind of get close and you kind of looking up at this giant colossus towering over you, kind of like peeking around it to see if it's like guarding a doorway, solid wall behind it. Well, no, it's not. So it's not solid wall behind it. It's another mural that depicts. It doesn't depict an outdoor. It depicts a what it looks like a arcane laboratory. With a painting of like several alchemy sets, some alchemical pots and arcane sigils and circles and live books upon books upon books, desks and different experiments going on. And when you look at it, it looks as though the candles are flickering within the painting. Similarly with the mural, when you got close to it over there, you can kind of see the wind brushing the trees on the hillside.
Wiswick feels very in over his head. I think that his first idea was that this is some sort of teleporting room where they have multiple sigils set up around the world or around the area, and they've been using it to travel to these locations. And maybe this was an old system that's been destroyed, and that's the reason why we've been trying to recover it.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't make any sense because the whatever evil threat.
Oh wait, you touched the hillside mural, right?
I did not touch any mural.
I meant with your pickaxe.
I touched the glowing hole.
I'm sorry, your axe did not get sucked through that one.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, your pickaxe did not. That one, it's sort of, you felt there's some pressure to it, like it sort of did kind of pull and tug at it, but it was not as strong as it should have been.
By the way, anyone who's just joining us, Shannon is out because of a power outage.
Drink.
Oh, she's got a power outage?
There's another.
Hopefully we'll get her back in here.
So
I guess you should drink every time I say that too. Wiswick, what would you like to do?
First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write a note to the rest of the party, and I'm gonna go outside and I'm gonna throw it into the astral sea.
Okay. Let's put it in a bottle. Come on, think this through.
Literally just a panic note that says,
huck it into the astral sea. Yeah.
I went inside. Please help me.
So Wiswick, when you go out and huck this note, you huck it out and it does that thing when you try to throw a paper airplane and it just kind of like lands right back on the ledge.
I feel embarrassed and I try and kick it off the ledge.
You kick it and it starts to fall off the ledge. And it falls for a little while, but it kind of flutters out into the sea a little. And as soon as it gets too far from the ledge, you just right back onto the ledge.
Okay, leave it on the ledge. And I go back and feed a
bottle.
So your note's just fluttering on the ledge of the astral sea.
Okay, so now that I'm back inside, I'm just going to start testing things. So I take my pickaxe and is there any like rubble lying around like that I could just pick up a bunch of rocks?
Yes, there's definitely a kind of like collected like pieces that have chipped off the ceiling over time. You could also notice the ceiling is kind of domed up in an arch. And there's sort of a mural up there as well that just depicts sort of a artistic representation of the astral sea. But yeah, you could definitely find small enough rocks that you can toss them at these cracks if you want.
I'm trying to think about maybe I could use the identify spell in a way to discover what's going on here. I don't know if that works with magic imbued objects.
Table talk. This might be metagaming.
Please,
which
I
case
need
I'm
all the help
sorry.
I can get.
Don't cast your spells. There's that Colossus that's magic activated.
True.
If I could do a long rest, I could do ascending, just communicate with you, but really help.
All right, back to the rocks idea.
Probably your best bet.
Yeah, this is definitely, you're definitely, I mean, generally was what you are in over your head right now. So I'll allow a little table talk. Okay. So which one do you want to throw a rock through?
The secret one, the one with the room in it. The one behind the golem that has the books and the stuff like that.
So you do so, and so are you throwing it at the mural, or are you looking for a crack there as well?
Yeah, I'm looking for a crack if there's any.
Okay, but so when you peek behind the creature, you do see its own little crack. You huck a rock at it and sucks the rock in.
Nothing happens.
The rock disappears.
I try to carefully at the edge of the mural. Like I take a rock and I try to kind of like peel at the mural, like see if I could like get it off the wall in some way, like I could knock into it. Like I don't imagine that I could knock the whole thing over, but I want to see if it's like attached on or if there's something behind it.
Okay, when you rub the rock against the mural to try to scrape away the paint, nothing happens. The mural does not. You see some fragments of paint come off, but they reappear where they come off of the mural.
Okay. I don't think I'm gonna have any luck with this one, so I go back to the previous one, the one that I had originally investigated, with the countryside and the other stuff. And the dam. I'm going to continue throwing rocks in the same hole that I had previously poked my thing in. That sounded terrible. Poked my pickaxe in.
Oh boy. Okay, so you're poking or you're throwing rocks into. You keep throwing rocks into the one in the back of the room.
I want to see if I could get like a full 360 view if I just keep pushing it to the left.
So I mean, you're just getting deeper. You don't get that deep of a glimpse in. It's really just a little bit of variation based on your perspective. Okay. But yeah, all the rocks disappear when they go into the rift.
Oh, geez. Wait, I did it one at a time. Like, is it?
Okay, well then the second rock.
Going?
Yeah, the second rock disappears into the rift.
Okay.
Nothing changes when things disappear into these rifts.
How many rocks do I have?
Yeah, I mean, eventually something will change.
You've got. I'd say you have at this point. You can find 10 rocks.
Okay.
That you can manage to toss into these rifts if you wish to.
Amazing. All right, so we go 1, then 3, then 2, then 1, then 3, then 2.
So you're trying to throw them into each?
Yeah, I probably I do 1 and then I do 3 to see if it.
So there's 4 rifts. There's one in the center of the. There's one in the center of the teleportation circle.
Oh. Yeah, let's go with that one now. I lob it. Like I don't want to get near the teleportation circle, so I just toss it underhand, let it fall straight in.
It falls in. There's this backfiring when it falls into that rift. Water splatters out a little and lands on the ground.
Okay. I spend a few minutes and I conjure my familiar.
Jet appears.
Get in there, buddy.
So he starts to head towards this rift, and by the time he reaches it, before he touches it, you see Jet disintegrate into dust, glittering dust that then the rune lights up on the Colossus.
I knew that was gonna happen. And Jet doesn't come back. Do I sense that he's destroyed?
Jet is destroyed.
All right. Well, my plan now is to wait and rest and gather my strength and do absolutely nothing and hope somebody will rescue me.
Okay. I'm going to check back in with everyone else, and then I'm going to come back to you, Wiswick, and I'm just going to give you... Oh, Shannon's back?
Ooh.
All right, let's get Shannon in here.
Who?
If you don't mind, can we take a 2-second break to see if I can fix the battle cam? While you get Shannon back in?
I'll keep talking.
Tim can keep talking. Everyone, we're going to take a quick break so we can get Shannon in here because she had a power outage. Drink. And I'm going to see if I can fix the battle mat. So we'll be back in tops 2 minutes. Tim will keep you entertained.
Welcome to the Tim Show. Scary ghosts and ghouls and goblins. What,
All right,
Vincent
great.
Price, right? Vincent Price does
Great.
that?
Yeah.
Great job, Tim. You've done your job. Put his headphones off. Now's my chance. Chat, help me. I need all the help I can get.
Oh yeah, that's actually that's a good fucking point, dude. Like, I have no idea what the fuck is. So I'm the one who's being entertaining right now. I'm doing the entertainment. If you've ever seen Dancing Girls, for those that are interested in that, or Dancing Men, imagine that. But whatever you want it to be, that's how entertaining right now is just is me talking into my microphone and not actually having anything to say. That is exactly how fun. And I know that like me telling you what fun is and how fun a thing isn't very fun, but I just need you to bear with that because we're getting Shannon and Alex. Where the Shannon? Did you try ringing her?
Ring, ring,
She's
ring.
online.
It's Shannon's phone.
Yeah, you just have to hit the ring button, you fuck. So anyway, carrying on with the problems that we've been having so far. Today is a very special day here at Paradice RPG because
It's my mother's birthday.
it's Stefan's mom's birthday. Everybody say happy birthday to Chris. She's a good lady.
Well,
She
means well.
She is a good lady. Come on.
Whoa, this is like a Martha
always-
situation. My
she was
mom's
always-
name is Chris.
Your mom's
Oh my
name
God.
is Chris.
Oh my god, we should.
Again. Sorry.
Harvey Dent. Can we trust?
I do think like Pete Holmes, I always go back and forth on, but I do think that his like Badman, whatever it was called, sketches, those were really, really good. Pretty much all of them were very quality. If I aim to riddle you, what am I? Helicopter. What? Yeah, so
This is now
back
the
to the Tim
Pete
show.
Holmes, podcast.
This is now just us Pete referencing a different comedian. Speaking of comedians, everyone, I saw recently, he's not too special, I just happened to just see it. A comedian called James A. Caster. He has a special on Netflix called Repertoire. Highly recommend. Definitely kind of weird, but I really, really enjoy it. It's my kind of weird, I guess, you know. Very funny, very smart. And then furthermore, you know, since we've been locked indoors, I assumed that I would get more stuff done. But I just haven't, you know? Like it's one of those like an object in motion stays in motion versus an object in rest sort of thing. And since my whole life has just become rest, move. Inertia, right? That's the physics concept.
Yes.
Concept of inertia. I never had much respect for science or math, to be honest. But I do think physics out of everything is the coolest of the sciences because it's like the philosophy of science where you could just make shit and it doesn't. I mean, it matters, but like you can kind of just make shit up and then prove it backwards. Also, topology. I enjoy topology because topology makes no sense to anyone, even topologists, and still they study it. And that's gumption, that's real moxie to do that, to pull that off.
That's some chutzpah if I've ever seen it.
Yeah, if you don't know what topology is, don't ask me. But my knowledge is basically limited to it's the study of space, and they don't mean space like astronomy. They mean space like
The
how
concept.
space works.
Yeah.
How space
Feng shui.
works. Yeah, it's basically a feng shui artist, but such high concept math that it's not even real. It's like to a so this is the one thing that I really know that topologists say, and it's to a topologist, there's no difference between a donut and a coffee cup because they're spatially exactly the same. And I was like, that's fun. That doesn't make any sense. And the topologist I was talking to was like, no, it doesn't. And then he hit me in the face and said, get out of my class. So that was my experience with topology. And yes, no, in college, my professors were allowed to hit me. I signed a waiver because I was like, yeah, I'm an asshole. That makes sense to me. And it was a good school. I got pretty good grades overall until senior year, and then I was too cool to go to school. And then I got like a D plus in a class, and was like, I should probably go back to school when I finished. And then I don't know. I kind of like hung out in a dark room for about 4 years, and that brings us up to now. Pretty much, it just gets us right to Paradise RPG, and then I started this, and now I'm a huge, massive public figure. No, I started doing it. Sorry that I condensed the fucking sentence, Stefan. I'm a huge figure now, so I always have to be, careful about my image. I've already had like 4 sex scandals, and that's great because I haven't even gotten laid 4 times since we started. So like, I don't really get how everyone thinks that it's so scandalous all the time when I'm not even doing anything. It's just bonkers to me. The whole thing is just bonkers. I don't like whatever Sean is doing. I don't know if you all can see, but it's very annoying.
No.
Okay. Oh, no, it's not even that funny. But Sean just dropped his camera right on the table. It was hilarious.
I think one of the best things is that chat has not once commented on this tirade.
Do we still have viewers? Do we still have viewers?
That's
not great for me. It's a big ego cut, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's fair. Nobody can see. Yeah. It's true. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm good to go.
Everybody who says that they can't see, we're apologize. We had to cut to away because we need to get Shannon in here, which required a layout change. And then Sean just like threw his $100 webcam on the ground. And so we had to go fix that. So it's just been me talking, and I'm very sorry.
I also am pretending this is not happening.
Thanks for joining the Tim Show. Introed, I should say, by Vincent Price.
Truly the most professional stream on Twitch. We are.
Ooh, Shannon looks sleepy.
Shannon, how are you?
I'm muted, first of all. Well, this has been a day from hell. I'm glad I'm here now.
Well, Shannon, you've arrived just in time for us to cut away from Wiswick.
Justin, what have I missed?
Wiswick is stuck in the astral sea in a room that has 3 murals in it and 4 cracks in reality and a teleportation circle on the ground.
Oh, great. He's going to touch it.
And a giant colossus in there.
Yeah, he's going to touch it.
He's already thrown a rock into
a giant colossus.
Yeah. You can see its mini in the back there.
It's colosso if it's masculine.
One of the cracks didn't do anything when he threw a rock at it.
He's throwing shit now?
Another one ate the rock. And the one in the middle ate the rock too, but splashed water out of it once it sucked the rock through.
Cool.
He did not test the 4th one yet.
Okay.
He tried to send Jet through one, but Jet was consumed and ignited a rune on the Colossus.
Cool. Did we not learn our lesson last time?
Once we cut back to Wiswick, we can get the battle cam back in because I have the room set up. But before we do that, I would like to check back in with everyone else who is still within the cave. So last you all saw, Wiswick hopped into a hole in the ground filled with water.
Are
you all right?
No, I'm not all right, to be honest with you. I was bit so many times. Cal's kind of just still sitting, just like staring off at nothing, because he's just kind of like emotionally and physically drained, to be honest.
Yeah, so to set the scene of this chamber, since we didn't start here, it's very large, but very claustrophobic because it's underground, and it is there is the deep well in the center that the Hydra slithered out of. Its corpse now sits around the around this hole, completely free of all flesh. It is just bone. There's the corpse of the mage that you had slain, who Timber had already retrieved this black pearl diadem from. There is in the back of the wall a double door mural that depicts this golden fiery sunrise within the center an obsidian spire that looks like the spire you saw in the murals beneath the barrow. And there are several dead bullywugs and 2 unconscious people that you rescued.
Kinky.
The diadem. Yeah, give me an Arcana check. $15 on the diadem. Okay, so what I guess with a 15, that's pretty good. What you can get from the diadem is that it is it looks as though the darkness of the black pearl is unnaturally so. Not necessarily meaning, it could mean many things. It could be that the enchantment upon it turned it this darker color, or it could mean that just whatever magic is instilled in it has caused this byproduct effect upon it.
I can, but I can only do it after one of my trance. Then I must call upon Luvania to reset my spell list.
Yo, Alex, I think chat just said you might be muted. Check your input. Yeah, OBS did that to me yesterday. They changed all of our settings.
So, Alex, you were muted that whole time?
Okay. Hey, am I muted? I hope not.
It's
definitely wasn't muted.
Day, everyone.
Yeah, everything's just screwed up.
Happy technical difficulties.
Happy. Thank you,
we
chat.
Were due
also,
for one. We haven't had one in a while.
Also, thank you, chat, because yep.
Can confirm they can hear.
Yeah. Kelleth, you seem to be bleeding. Do you need some assistance there?
You know, I am bleeding.
Well, Kieran
you
did cast
tapped me off.
heal wounds on him previously.
Right, so they're closed at least. I'm not bleeding, but I'm not. I'm just gonna need a. Can I just? I'm gonna lie here for a bit, and Cal just lies back onto his back and just kind of like lies there for a bit.
Okay.
So there's that large obsidian piece, correct?
Yes.
Kieran would probably be slightly fascinated with this, and since you described it as being similar to the door that we found in the assassin arrows, he would understand that there might be a connection with the Ivania or the conflict, so he would like to investigate that or try to more in depth if there's anything that calls out.
Okay, definitely. So go ahead and give me an Arcana check. As you step up to it, it's slightly elevated above where you are currently. It has sort of this natural stone that meets carved steps, as if they've been melded together, that leads up to these two unlit braziers that are melded into the stone as well. Melded not as if they had been melted, but melded like they had been teleported into the stone. The mural itself is flanked by two of those familiar green flame lanterns that float in the air. What'd you get in your Arcana check?
9.
Okay. It's made of very fine gemstone, but it's the interesting thing. This has nothing to do with its magical properties or historical or properties, but you notice, it's not like mosaic of gems, but it's like entirely gem, as if it was cut from a massive gem.
Okay, very cool. Then I guess after that, he'd like to inspect the Hydra. His goal here is to see if there's anything worth salvaging from it, like maybe if there's a bone or something that might have properties he may have heard of that could have resale value, some additional currency worth.
Yeah, give me a nature check.
All these intelligent. Can I just roll perception? That's a 7.
Perception will be like, yeah, I can see them bones.
Yeah, I know. Just what I'm good at.
With a 7, in your mind, you're just like, well, all the flesh is melted away into nothingness. It's probably, unless someone really wants some bones, it's probably not worth much.
And about how long has it been since Wiswick has submerged?
By this point, it's been a couple minutes.
All right.
He'd have drowned by now.
About that.
Okay.
I didn't know that. I thought this was concurrent. Sorry.
Well, it is, but he jumped in, and you really wouldn't think about it. So it would go for a few minutes before you think about it, and you're like, oh, wait.
Yeah, so after walking around and thinking about it, I think Cal and Kieran kind of look at each other, and they're like,
wait, where did Wiswick go?
Has anyone? Did
he got out of the pool, didn't he?
Did he ever come out?
No, I did not see him come out. Oh,
shit!
My
And Cal
God.
just dives in because he assumes Wiswick is drowning at the bottom of this pool.
Okay.
Kieran follows.
Okay. Is everyone following?
No, actually.
No.
I imagine Timber and Scarlet are just look to each other like, maybe we should. We were together before we met them. But okay, so you jump in. The algae have not recouped their stinging force. You do notice they're starting to glow a little bit, and every now and then you touch one and you get a discharge, but it's not enough to damage you. Which you find coming out into this murky water all around. And there's two things you notice. One, the black spire piercing through with some purple light that is pretty much lighting this whole cavern. Huron, since you have such a high passive perception, you would notice a second thing. You would notice this scintillating light that fills this whole gross, bad nest hydra hive into this murky, floating flesh nightmare. You do notice that the light pierces through, and you see it's glinting off of a small object on the base of the this cavern. It seems to glint off of something shiny down there.
Swimming down to it.
Okay. Cal, what are you doing?
Same.
Okay.
I'm looking for Wiswick, and then I see there's a light, so I assume maybe he went to the light.
Okay, so Cal, you give me an investigation check for the light. Huron, you give me an investigation check for the glint you saw.
12.
12.
5.
5. Huron, it's hard to find the glint. It seems as though you and Cal's movement around has kicked up some of horrible grime that has covered the bottom of this dungeon, just sort of like the settled remains and fleshy remains of this Hydra's food. As you just see the smoggy cloud come up, completely consuming the glint you saw, and you just can't find it. Cal, you get up to this light, and you kind of learning your lesson from Wiswick in the past. You just don't get close to it, but you sort of anchor yourself against the spire, noticing this very cold touch. And you notice floating gently around about a couple feet away from this is just Wiswick's hat.
I look into the. Can I look into the thing?
You can take a closer look. It's just a light, so it's as if as if a portal was just as wide as the edge of the spire all around it.
Ooh, can I interrupt for a second? Thought of an idea. I want to chuck one of my socks into the middle portal.
Wiswick, you don't have to, because Cal, a few moments while you're standing there, you said a rock pops out and just sinks to the bottom of the cave.
I catch the rock,
Mm-hmm.
and I throw it back in.
Wiswick, while you're sitting there concentrating, freaking the fuck out under the light of these orbs and this towering colossus above you, you just like, I gotta get out. It just water splatters in the ground as the rock you threw through the central portal, the central crack above the teleportation circle, lands on the ground.
I write a new note and I attach it to the rock. And it says, if you greetings to whom it may concern. I'm trapped here.
This whole time.
I'm trapped here, but I'm waiting for my chance to escape. Do not go inside this portal. It hurts real bad. XXOO Wiswick.
So you tie it to the rock and chuck it into the fragment. And Cal, you were waiting there a few moments, starting to be like, as suddenly just you see the rock come back with a note.
Snatch it out of the water, and then I search for air.
Okay. So you go back and Huron, what would you like to have done during this time? It was only like a minute or so.
I mean, he might have tried to pursue the thing, thinking it might be something leading to Wiswick. But past that, he would have looked up and seen Cal expecting the area, not to join.
Yeah, you can give me another investigation check. It'll have a higher DC because of what's been kicked up, but you have another investigation check to try to find the glinting object.
I'm just hoping it's something magical and cool.
1 gold piece.
Ooh, 16.
All right, that'll do. So you kind of, Huron, you kind of notice Cal is looking at this light above, and you're just determined, because you don't know. It could be, either thing could be related to where Wiswick is. So you sort of dig down, and you kind of like, you try to hold yourself still as some of the muck settles and writhes around, and then suddenly you see the glint again. You move towards it, you see it again, and then you come through, and kind of the muck dissipates around your face, and you come down, and you see this large, like a child's bowling ball size gem that is a turquoise blue with veins of white moving through it in a circular motion around it.
The veins are literally moving.
It's hard to tell underwater.
That's fair.
It's essentially it's
glowing
pallet
red eye?
and but blue. But you notice Cal swimming back towards the way you came. And then a few moments later, Scarlet and Timber, you notice Cal surface out of the water. The water pours, and he's returned.
Oh, that's not good.
What did you find?
Well, his hat's down there, but there's no sign of him. However, there is a glowing purple light, and this rock came back with a note. And I like swim over to the side, and I'm got my arms over the ledge, and I open the note.
You probably
Cal
touched it.
grab Wiswick's hat.
Yeah, Cal did
Okay.
grab it.
Just want to make sure.
Okay, so you see Cal's returned with Wiswick's hat. Cal, you read the note. It says what Wiswick. He's in there, but he's waiting for his waiting to be able to come back. And he said that going through the portal hurts like hell. In one or more words.
I am okay. All right, so he's in there, guys. We've got to figure out how to get him back.
So what is he waiting for?
I don't know. Help?
He's probably.
I'm gonna write it. Does somebody have a pen? No one. Nobody has a pen.
I reach out and get my quill, but I don't have any. I don't have any ink.
So you see this beautiful, massive eagle's quill, and you can kind of see at the tip of it where there would ordinarily be the stain from the black ink. It's stained
Stained to what?
a grimy red.
Oh. So I grab it. I take it from Timber, and I look at it, and I look at him, and I look at it, and I look at him, and then I decide to say nothing, and I dip it in the pool of my own blood that's just like right near the edge of this thing, caused via. I'm a practical guy, and I write back, "Dear Wiswick, comma. Thank you for your note. Received. Yours received 3 minutes ago. My time. Period. It's Cal. Period. Have you tried touching the light again to get back? Period. I know it hurts, but Kieran will be ready with his stuff. Period.
Kieran, do you have
Really?
Revivify and a 300 gold diamond?
I have this new
That's
gem
not
that
a
I
good
just found,
question.
but Revivify is not prepared.
Well, it won't kill him. It'll just.
You just need spare the dying,
It
right?
might kill me.
Oh, you're right. It probably.
I
wouldn't
do
kill
have
him.
Spare the
I'm
Dying.
pretty sure
I
I
also still
succeeded a
have some...
Constitution saving throw before I got inside of that thing, and it still did
You
most
took
of
30
my
points of
health.
force damage.
30? I thought it was like 28.
No, you took 30 points of force
30.
damage. I
It was
think.
30. It was 30.
I still have a number of cure wounds at first level I could perform.
I will try opening portal from my end. Period. Do not know what I am doing. Period. Will guess. Hopefully it works. Period.
That's a lot of blood, Cal.
Well, it was on the
I-
ground.
I was at 1 health point.
Didn't you see Zaharja? Look at that cut that he split right there along the
Can
neck.
somebody get me one of those teeth, by the way? I should like keep that for posterity or something. I'm not gonna do anything with it. It's tag.
I'll get it for you.
Thank you. Missing you. Period. Hope to resolve soon.
Hang up already.
Cal. P.S. I don't know if Scarlet wants you back. Be prepared for a relatively cold. I don't say this out loud. A relatively cold welcome. Know that you, the rest of us, wish you were here. Period. And then I roll it up, and then I tie it around the rock, and I go back down.
Okay, it's easy enough. You know your way now. You get to the portal. You huck it through. Wiswick, you're still waiting there, kind of anxious, trying to concentrate on just resting. As the rock water splashes out with a new note on it.
I read the note. Takes a little while. Would you say how much time has passed so far?
So I would say, oh wow, I messed that up. time now has passed. Is probably for them. For them, it's been
It's like 6 minutes.
6 minutes. For you, it's been
7 years.
almost a half hour.
Half hour. Okay. I do the math in my head because I've been counting this whole time. I don't know if I told you.
Wiswick is every second just 1, 2.
And I quickly write back a note saying, I say, trust me, it's really scary going through that portal. You don't want to do it. I will leave. I'll come back as soon as I can. Just hold on. I have a plan. Don't fuck this up, Cal. Don't try anything. I already screwed up enough. Love, Wiswick. P.S.S. Tell Scarlet that I'm dead and I'm never coming back, and maybe she'll feel bad about it. So that way it'll make more of a dramatic entrance.
These are the pertinent things to be corresponding.
So Cal, shortly after you threw the note in, pretty quickly actually, the rock flies right back out with a new note on it.
I swim back up and I open it and I read it to myself, and then I say out loud, "Oh no, Scarlet, he says he's never coming back. He thinks he's dead."
Wait, what?
And who wrote the
Yeah,
note?
read it. And I pass it to
no.
Kira. Look, no, he's not actually dead now. He says he's lost there. He's not gonna make it.
No,
Spoil
he's
everything.
just. I'll say nothing of it. The note back.
I wink at Kieran because at this point Cal has lost way too much blood to be serious about it.
Yeah, Cal, this whole time you're like, am I dreaming?
Cal,
Yeah, no, like
So
he's
woozy.
I'm definitely in like a kind of like, because I'm holding my breath for a while. I don't have that enough blood.
Cal, you don't
you're
look too good. Do you want me to deliver the message to him?
It's really not that far. It's okay.
I reach my hand out
I'm already
to
in the
pull him out of the water.
I'm already in the water. I'm already in the water.
You don't.
Cal, come
He
here.
doesn't really give much of a resistance, unless you want to, Cal.
I'm gonna try to pull him out.
I'm
Okay.
holding up my potion of healing. Come here.
Just take a rest. Just take a rest. Look. I try to like lay Cal's head on like the Hydra's dead head that's like laying over there.
What?
The
No,
skull.
Timmy, bring him over here.
No,
I don't
it's
even. I
comfortable.
can't even.
Look,
I don't think I'm aware enough to like.
it's like-
Yeah, you're really
Nah.
not.
I'm just like, okay.
You're in like a fever dream right now.
Yeah, that's exactly. It's exactly what it is.
I take the note that Wiswick had and I that Kieran threw and I read it, and then Tim was just like, oh shit.
Oh, Kieran, you brought the
gem.
orb you found up, right?
Or the orb, yeah. Can I do some kind of check on it to see anything?
You can give me an Arcana check. But Timber, you're gonna jump back in and
yeah, so I'm gonna write another note to him because
Oh, okay.
Cal didn't
that's right, he didn't respond.
it's gonna be like, Wiswick, I need you to come back here, please.
Tell him I'm devastated.
Put a stick through the thing. It'll widen it. I bet.
Cal,
I-
here. Can I give him the
He's having
potion?
pneumonia.
If you want, yeah, you can make him
Yeah.
drink the potion.
Do you want me to roll, or should he roll?
You can roll.
I have need of your great abilities. We all do. We all miss you. Please, don't do anything stupid again.
9 hit points. Cal.
Thank you.
Okay. You dive back in and hug it through the
just hug it through.
portal. All right, Wiswick. So 12 minutes later. I'd say by this point it's been 36 minutes. So you can take a short rest.
Okay, I appreciate that. I'm going to use all my hit die, and I'm also going to use my arcane recovery ability to get some spell slots back.
Oh.
So, fingers crossed, guys. How many of these hit die do I get?
As many as you want.
5d6, I want to say, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's right. Because you guys are level 5, so 5d6.
Also, Sean got a 16 on that.
Okay, so when you're observing it up, it's fine. I've got my wireless headphones on, and I keep reaching for the wire of them. But you concentrate on this orb, and you can you're holding it. You come out of the water, and you notice once you're out of the water, you can see that the veins do somewhat move. And upon closer inspection, they kind of look not perfectly like a picture representation, but more like a painting representation of waves, and it moves all around it. And longer than it should, it remains wet after you've pulled it out, almost as if it's producing its own water around it that starts to drip down from your hands after it shouldn't.
Okay. Can I get back to me?
Yep.
I gained 27 hit points, enough to put me back to full.
Okay.
I make sure that I double check that I'm attuned to my new Paradice of wound mending.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you had already attuned to it.
Yeah, and I'm going to cast some spells. I don't know which ones. No. I know. I don't know which ones yet.
No!
Hold on.
John!
I mean, the monster can't get me if I jump in the hole.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Wiswick, what do you want to do?
I dive in the hole.
Okay. No spells cast?
No spells cast.
Okay. Give me a Constitution saving throw.
Is it magic?
Yes, it is.
All right, finally a good roll tonight. I only do it when it counts. So 20 unnatural.
20 unnatural? Okay. Where's the right dice?
Wait, it's not like a DC, it's like you roll for it? Interesting.
No, it is a DC. He's
No,
just
I think
still
he's
taking
running
damage.
damage, bro.
Oh, I'm
Yeah, it might
sorry.
be half.
I'm sorry.
Might be, might not be.
I took the letter that you wrote, and I tucked it in my book, keep forever, and to use when I want to go to sleep, or whenever I'm stuck in a situation like this again.
All relying on me.
Okay, Wiswick, you... By the way, just so you know, because you kind of get the sense, you did fail the save.
Jesus.
Shit.
What?
You take 28 points of force damage.
I'm not down.
As Timber, you would immediately, almost like pretty much immediately after you threw the rock in, you would just see the light lights up a little bit, and then you just see, and sort of like this pressure shoots water away a little bit. It's almost like there's a vacuum there for a second, and then it just.
I'd immediately
back.
like after throwing and then seeing that, I'd immediately like kind of grasp with my arms and then like try to pull him to the surface.
Yeah, Wiswick, give me a con saving throw.
Another one? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can I harvest some of the teeth for Cal while we're waiting?
Yeah, absolutely. How many do you want to grab? There's so many.
Cal, how many do you want?
What? Oh,
How many teeth? How many teeth do you want?
I didn't know you were serious. One is fine. Just a
There's
big one.
just one. There's literally thousands.
I mean, I'm not gonna. I just wanted to.
I'll take 5.
Okay. You easily enough get 5 Hydra teeth. You break a few, but there's plenty to get new ones. So you can get 5 easily enough.
Great.
Wiswick, what'd you get?
I got a 7.
It's not as bad.
If it's holding my breath, I planned on using Misstep twice.
Oh, I'm also carrying him up. But if
It's not holding your breath. You take 5 points of. I guess I'd say it doesn't matter the damage type. It's essentially you just the thrusting into it didn't prepare you. You lost because you failed the first save. Your concentration was lost. You didn't prepare to be brought into a big pool of water that then just collapsed in on you and entered your lungs. So you just took 5 points of bludgeoning damage just from the impact and just inhaling a bunch.
Okay, well then I am definitely down. But the good news is, if I didn't take a short rest, I would be dead for real.
So he is unconscious in your arms, Timber, as you swim back up, and you all see the water start to come up with their presence, and then Timber comes up. He's carrying the unconscious body of Wiswick.
Get on! Help me!
As soon as Scarlet sees that, oh my god, he's actually dead! Kieran!
Kieran, with tucking the orb into a pocket of some kind, rushes over, lays his hand, just slaps it right on Wiswick's face, and uttering some elven mumbo jumbo, cast Cure Wound. First, level.
Okay, so you watch as that familiar violet light emanates from Kieran's hands and enters into Wiswick's body, bringing him back from unconscious with 6 health. You watch as he coughs up a bunch of water. Wiswick, you would have several bruises all across your body from the impact of being squished through space and time in that way and spat back out. You are rough looking. You've got a black eye. Your face is swollen. The black eye is so swollen that when eye is closed, you feel your whole body just feels horrible. And you feel like you feel down to like your joints when you move your arms and legs, just it feels like bone scraping against bone. But you are alive. And awake.
I wake up and I cough up whatever was left in my lungs and just spit on the ground a few times and make some hawking noises and then lay over and just go, "Oh! Ah!" And I keep doing this for about until somebody gets really angry at me.
Wiswick! Have you learned nothing?
Is that you, Scarlet? Oh my god, that was horrible.
What happened? Alright, I'm going to need you to stop yelling because I can't understand you.
He's like a child. Just don't give him any attention. Let's leave him to himself, and eventually he'll crave the attention.
Hey, buddy. Hey. You look. We should. Yeah. I think.
Kieran, do you have anything left for him?
Khaled needs your help, Wiswick.
Yeah.
Khaled is not doing well. You need to hurry, get back to consciousness.
I don't think my potion was enough.
we need to get moving before we get to more trouble.
I'm feeling better. The physical pain's gone.
Shut up, Khaled.
Cal, please stop talking.
The amount of blood that's on the floor is not in your head. So, Kieran, please, let's grab the shoulder of Khaled, and I will carry Wiswick this Scarlet.
I do feel
What about the prisoners?
Unconscious?
Yeah,
prisoners.
we're going to need your help with that.
Shit.
Can you carry people on your back as a wolf?
No, I can walk. I can walk. I say.
No, you can't walk.
On my own. I walk on my own.
Kieran lets him walk on his own to go pick up
Cal.
Prisoners.
Okay. the panic of that situation right there. All of you talking. I also looked at the D&D Beyond overlay and saw how much little health all of you have, and I was like, oh, okay. This was rough. All right, so Kieran, you're going to help the prisoners, while
Correct.
Timber helps Cal, and Scarlet helps Wiswick.
No,
You
I
could
think-
probably
I
help
think
the prisoners
Timber
and
was also
Wiswick
good
at the
help
same
the
time.
prison.
Okay.
I actually can walk. I'm just
Yeah,
like
Cal probably doesn't need as much help, but he probably shouldn't be the last one out.
Yeah.
Because you guys are going to have to swim again.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So I have terrible news, guys.
Can we talk about it later? Can we focus on getting out of here
let us
first, please?
What's the
Yes.
matter, Wiswick? What's the news?
No, Cal, stop.
Well,
You see,
Later.
Kieran, you're at this point. You're sort of lifting up the prisoners. You can see that they're semi-conscious, so they can't really explain anything to you, but they can easily enough kind of be led by you. So they're kind of walking their own footing. You'll have to do kind of pull them along when you're swimming through the tunnel to get out. Timber, you take one of them from Kieran as he walks over, and Scarlet, you kind of, as Wiswick is saying, it's terrible, you just kind of pick him up by the scruff of his cloak and start carrying him out as Cal kind of
where's my hat?
is in the middle of all of you, and you're all taking your leave of this cavern.
I just want to also
I-
note that I mage hand. I never touch it. I mage hand that thing into my pocket.
Okay, easily enough, you mage hand the diadem into your pocket without touching it. with
I
your
grabbed
actual hand.
Wiswick's hat on the way out.
Good. All right, I have to cut it off the mini. So it's not easy. It certainly is rough, and some of you get a few stings from the algae, but you're able to get everyone out safely, and you find yourselves now standing waist deep, trudging up to the shore of the stream that leads to the river back onto the surface. By this point, it's gotten up to early afternoon, close to probably around 3:30. What would you like to do?
We need to get back.
But I'm feeling a bit better, and I think we should go dry off somewhere. And
Timber,
maybe
what
take a
happened
nap.
to the little girl?
She got taken by fishermen of the town.
By who? By who?
They look like fishermen. I don't know. They seem
Is
to
she
be
safe?
It's a
friends.
father and daughter.
I believe so. They seem to be friends of the father.
All right.
I had to help you guys. You guys were in trouble. And they seem to be worthy of trust. Anyway, let's get back to town. Yes.
I love the sound of that idea.
You start to head back to town. It takes you a little while just because you're carrying weak individuals who have suffered a lot of damage. So it takes you a little while, but you know, it's not a very difficult road since you've essentially taken out the danger that was upon this dirt road that leads to the stream. You come and you pass by the
I want to go to the church.
You're
The
not
little
going
quay.
anywhere.
you pass by the little quay that you saw as Wiswick sort of in a state is just going the church as Scarlet is ignoring him and carrying him to safety. You pass by the quay where Timber, you see the father of the pair that you had seen taking the little girl, and he kind of comes up to you and just very briefly says, "Oi, are you the individuals who were with the dog?"
Yes.
Yes, that was us.
That is
Our dog.
"Where's your dog? Is he okay?"
He died.
No.
Chiron points to Timber.
the
Straight up points
The
to
dog died is what happened, and it was very sad. We were all sad.
Well-
That's the girl that he was guarding, right?
Cow.
You all look like shit.
Yes.
Um,
Yes, thank
There
you.
was a
Is
fight.
the
Our dog
Hey.
died.
My daughter is still with the little girl. She's She's at the Abbey. Yeah,
You're right.
yeah, absolutely, 100%. The Abbey is taking care of her.
Good. Thank you.
I
And
want to
we
be
head
taken care of.
V6, shut up.
We're getting there.
Hurry.
Relax.
I'm glad to see your daughter safe. I say in a hybrid form that looks like a wolf.
That's true. Good boy.
Dog
Thank
dead.
you for saving that girl.
You can talk to me like a human, you know.
I'm sorry. I just wasn't sure.
You just
Please, we'll have you
Anyway.
out whatever you made it through. But the little girl, she is safe.
good. We're going back to town.
Safe travels. And he kind of rushes away from you, that awkward encounter, and starts handling his ship or his boat. You start to head back to town. It's back to the cobblestones. Safety of kind of the familiar side of the town as you enter in through the palisade arch that separates this sort of coastline of the river from the. You enter into the square and you immediately see the father that you met in the park was waiting at the edge of town, and he immediately runs up to you and embraces and pulls his daughter out of your grasps, and just inconsolably trying to speak with her. He's caressing her hair and just holding her tight as she sort of slowly brings her arms around him. Just Father, I can't thank you enough for saving my daughter. What was it out there?
It appeared to be some kind of mad mage sacrificing townsfolk and animals to his pet hydra.
These days. Thank you. I don't have anything to offer, but
No, don't even think. That's what your text.
God's willing. Thank you. Thank you so much. Everflame bless you all.
Ilyuvania bless you.
And he looks before he leaves, and he just sees the boy in your arms. He's just, oh, that's the Tuckberry's son. If you want to drop him at the Abbey, I can let his folks know. Their farm's not too far from mine.
Thank you very much, kind sir. And Cal kind of stumbles off screen.
Kieran's gonna bring the Tuckberry boy to the Abbey and deposit him. I imagine it's like a book return. He just stuffed.
It's just a slot for wayward children.
Yeah,
And-
you drop the boy off, and they give you your ticket. Your compensation of 1 copper.
It's a coat check thing. They split one in half, and it's like to collect your child.
No, you all kind of slowly make your way into the square. The father leaves with his daughter slowly, carefully bringing her towards the northern road leading up to the farmlands. You get to the entrance of the Abbey. When you step inside, it's very much so a classical stone chapel. You have you have several rows of pews leading up to an altar, and you can see the dais around the altar. There are slightly smaller altars in the front. There's about 3. They look essentially like stone slabs, and one of the little girls is on one of them, and you can see a cleric in a brown, very ragged robe with a sash around the waist that is much nicer than the robe. That is spun of gold, red, and white thread, and a necklace, a chain around his neck with the symbol of the Everflame around at the base of it, which is just a 8-pointed sun. And you see him just sort of holding his hand at the brow of the young girl, and you can see sort of magical light emanating from his fingertips as he's just whispering a quiet prayer. And another one of these clerics of the Everflame steps up from the side of the abbey, because it has one of those it's got the like courtyard in the center where the pews are, with sort of a glass ceiling above, and then around the edges add like monastery hallways that have the arched entrance to the
full glass ceiling.
Not fully glass, but mostly glass in the center. There's a large,
Like a
large.
dome?
It's really like a greenhouse ceiling
Okay.
in the center,
People got
letting
money.
the sunlight in.
What
this-
I know, I would know.
Yeah,
Cal
go ahead.
would know. What is the appropriate term for a priest or priestess of the ever? Like, what is it like? Like
Yeah, I know what you mean.
in Christianity, it's father, or what would I call them?
You would actually call them
Rabbi.
graces.
Grace.
Mhm.
Your grace, or just grace?
Grace. Your grace. Grace. Your grace is a little easier to say than just grace.
Um,
all the
Oh, grace.
all the priests take on the name Grace when they become they say their vows.
Sean, Timber would know that too, right?
Yes, Timber, you would know that as well. Scarlet, you would know that as well. All having grown up adjacent or within places that have abbeys of the Everflame. A young woman dressed in similar garb steps up to you. She appears to be half elven. She has shorter elvish ears, very bright green eyes. Her skin is a darker color, and on her forehead you can see sort of the very light budding of similar bark growth as Valen, but not nearly as intense. And there's not really horns, and more so is just this carapace like bark on her forehead, leading to her hair with some light twiggage coming off.
Hello, Your Grace. We've recovered this child. Apparently, he's Tookberry's boy. We wanted to leave you for safekeeping until they were able to collect.
Everflame bless you all. We had heard that your venturing group had set out to find the missing girl. I hope that she has been found and returned to her father. We will take the Tookberry boy. Brother Dolan, you will perform healing on the lad, and we will wait for his parents to come.
I don't mean to be rude, but is there anything you can do for my friend here? As I holding up Wiswick.
You see this half-elven woman looks to him and just certainly he looks quite injured. You all look quite injured, really. You see she whispers a few words and clasps the symbol of the Everflame at her chest. And you see her eyes glow a bright golden color, almost as if
And
there's
Kieran flinches back with a hiss.
Oh. That's not the light I prefer. As you all, a warm breeze flutter over you, as if it were, warmth in your veins. As you all receive 9 points of healing. Her
Kieran
eyes.
might give a little huff behind everyone and be like, I mean, I could have done that too. Sure, I was prepared. Something happened.
Excuse me.
Thank
And
you, Your Grace.
The woman's eyes return to normal, and she just brings her eyes back down and says, "We're all children of the Everflame.
Excuse
Their
me.
light guides us all."
Yeah.
Yes.
My grace, or your grace. Can I get... I hate to ask. Where can I get some beads of the Everflame?
Some beads of the Everflame. Certainly. The child
Sun
will
beads.
provide you with some as well.
It's got to be a better name than that. Okay.
What do you need those for?
I ignore Scarlet.
You see, she steps aside away from you, and you watch her walk down the center of the pews, and you see her bow
Prayer beads.
and kneel down before the altar, before standing back up, and walking off. She returns, coming around the other side. She holds out these finely crafted wooden prayer beads on a necklace that are alternating red, gold, white to gold, red, gold, white. And they have a symbol at the end that's carved of wood that shows a pointed star, which is anything for another child of the Everflame.
Thank you. Also, thank you for not reacting to my current form.
Never. We are all broken in some way in this world.
Scarlet
The Everflame.
Thank you.
She ignores you entirely.
I'm going
Jesus.
to go pray. And Timber walks
Thank
away.
you, Grace. Blessing and all that. Thank you very much. You've been one. And I bow in a way that I'm trying to make look not mocking. If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you've actually been to Everflame services before. You're
Many
completely.
a time, yeah.
Yeah. You, like everyone else, hasn't really. Like Scarlet, your father was not an Everflame worshiper. You worshipped Turin, so you didn't experience that in your youth. Or not Turin, sorry, Fursol.
Turin, the god of robots.
And Timber, you would have been adjacent to it, but you would have never participated in it necessarily. So, Cal, you give the appropriate, respectful bow to this Grace. She bows to each of you, and just with a flame light guide you.
And with your spirit.
And also with you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm a Vatican II man at heart. So I'm gonna leave.
Better.
Yeah. Thanks, lady.
Your Grace, Wiswick.
Just
Oh,
say
please.
it. Just get it over with.
She's already
that
walked away
assumes
from
to take that race.
My friend, I'm glad you are looking better. Also, here's your
Yeah.
hat, and I put it on his head.
I push it down so it covers most of my face. And I say, this feels good. Thanks, Cal.
I understand, friend.
Hmm.
Making sure my own hat is on straight.
It is.
And then I say, well, shall we? And I leave because churches make me uncomfortable. And I head out to the place with the guy, the lawmaster.
Okay. So you are going to, you all leave the Abbey of the Everflame, and you head back towards the Lawmaster's Tower. It's starting to get a little dark now, but with the sun still out, the semi-eclipsed sun still out, you come to the Lawmaster's Tower, you step inside, the guards allow you in, there's no problem there, they've seen you before.
Wait. Before we enter the guards tower, I just want to stop Cal and I say, I still got to tell you guys the full story. It might be a little dangerous to let this guy know everything. Are you sure we could trust him?
I'm not going to tell you. just going to tell him that we did his job, show him the proof, and call it.
I also want to make.
Okay.
I won't tell him anything about what's going on with you because I don't know about it, so he won't even know that I'm.
All right.
Is there another piece of information that we should?
Yeah. There's quite a few.
Okay.
Do they need to know right now? Can we come back at another time?
We could do that. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do what Scarlett's saying. It's fine. It can wait. We'll talk about it later.
Are you actually agreeing with me? That's new.
So Cal is less lightheaded and feeling himself, and so this whole interaction was just like, it'll be fine. Everything will be fine. And so I walk into that.
I would also like
Cal,
to make note that after we left the Everflame Church, Timber would be a wolf again.
Okay.
He would not be humanoid.
Easy enough to do. So you cross the courtyard towards the Lawmaster's Tower. You step in and you see it is mostly empty. There's a few guards stationed in there. And you just see the Lawmaster just sitting at her desk, just looking at paper. And there's several candles lit around her. And as you recall, she's a dwarven woman. And she just sort of looks up and she just says, "Oh, finally. Thought you might have got stuck out there."
I put on my diplomat smile, and I go, "Oh, no worries about us. It did take us a bit longer than we expected to come back, as there was a lot of baggage, but we were able to achieve all objectives efficiently and effectively, and we've delivered back 2 captured townsfolk. One is at the Abbey right now, and the other is with her father, or was out in the court.
Technically 3, if you count the little girl.
3 captured citizens we were able to return to you."
Well, that's lovely. I apologize for my behavior earlier. It's strange times, and the protection of a small hamlet like this not always the priority of generals and heroes. So I appreciate what you have done for us today. As I promised. Sergeant, in the chest, you see a guard comes out with a small chest, opens it up, and it is filled with 300 gold pieces. And then you see from behind the sergeant, you see Lieutenant Horace steps down from above, and he just looks down and says, "Oh, I see, our heroes have returned. I judge by the gold that you were successful."
3 captured civilians returned. 1 mad mage dealt with, as well as his cult of bullywogs. There was a marrow at one point, if I recall, though I don't know if we named that, so Cal might not know that. And what was the other thing, guys? Oh, yes, a giant hydra.
Yes.
There was a giant hydra out there that we fought and killed. And he's mostly, or she is mostly responsible for our appearance at the moment, I say, pointing to my tattered undershirt.
Well, it seems it was much more than just little green men, then. I'm glad you were able to handle it. Bray, Private Bray. Bring over my personal chest. You see another chest is brought out. You see the lieutenant goes over and starts counting coins out of it. While he's counting coins, Lawmaster Freda Sorka looks to you and says,
My husband wrote their West Wing. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorkin. Sorka. She looks to you and just says, Hydra? A mad mage?
All of the above, yes.
And you destroyed all of this?
I motion to Scarlet to take out the teeth. And apparently
those are-
Flame.
Those
She burns them up.
Right to the thing.
They feel excellent piercing your torso. I can tell you that much.
Well, I wish I could offer you more.
This
Looks
was
like my friend
the
Horace.
agreed upon price.
Well, nonetheless, thank you for helping us.
Maybe you could help us out with just a little information. I have a question or two.
I was hoping to get to supper, but certainly.
Oh, I won't take up too much of your time. Maybe if you could just tell me a little bit about there's a merchant in your town goes by the name Saoirse. Can you just is she do you know anything about her? Does she seem trustworthy to you?
Well, Saoirse. She, as far as I know, she showed up about 10 years ago or so. I was still just a guard. But, she keeps to herself. Townsfolk don't like to let their children near her, but or into her shop. I don't ask many questions, but if you ask me if I trust her, I'd probably say no. But she stays out of trouble.
Okay. If that's all you know, I won't bother you any further.
Wizard, give me a quick persuasion check.
Okay. How about a 9?
Okay. Yeah, she's done. She just looks up to you, half smile, very tired looking, as if she's been up all night, the previous night, and worked all day. It's about all I can tell you. But again, I appreciate all the help you had brought to Brackland Glen. If there are more heroes like you on the road, this world would be less dangerous. With that, Horace.
Be sure to tell your friends.
Horace has moved several satchels of coin into the chest from his own collection. He looks back to you. I believe that should just about match the Lawmaster's expense here. Please accept this 600 gold pieces in honor of your duty and service to the crown.
Thank you very much, Lieutenant. Thank you very much, Lawmaster. Remember, that's Cal Rolan, Rholan, in the logs, as well as you all can give your last names. I don't remember them. That's not true. Tim doesn't. I'm sorry.
You see,
Cal would know.
The Lawmaster looks over to Brett, and Horace looks over, and the young soldier just immediately and then runs over, and she hands him some parchment and ink. And is it Roland?
No D. Rholan.
Oh, Roland. Okay,
Yes.
all right then. Cal Roland.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of you?
Well, this is you guys are gonna have to help me because I don't remember them all.
Wiswick,
No,
Master
you
of
can do it.
Magics, Bilgu Farlick Yellen, Jedrick Netherrock. At your service.
Timber, the wolf, or Timber, comma wolf. This is Kieran, blessed of Iluvania, 5th of his name, and
Nope. Okay. And you missed.
Scarlet. And I look at her and I go,
What'd you say?
Underhill.
Not even close.
No, I was giving a fake name on purpose because you're a freaking wanted criminal.
Yeah.
I'm
Yes.
aware.
Why would you? Yeah.
Oh.
Crushing it.
Oh man.
It's all good, Shannon. It's been a rough day.
Yours is like the only other last name we use ever. I obviously know that one.
Scarlet Underhill.
Like we've used Kieran's, I think once. I think when he introduced himself, and never again. And then Wiswix is too long.
No, that's not true because Stefan hadn't created it yet at that point.
Yes.
What is your last name, Kieran?
Is this Cal asking?
I
Tim?
assume that you and I talk off screen, and so therefore I would probably, unless you weren't sharing that on purpose.
No, I think at first he wouldn't have, but at this point it's Silistana.
I say that in accurate intonation and pronunciation.
And the guard gets that perfectly on the first time.
Of course.
Ilistana.
It's Silistana.
This is a lot of names with a lot of subtext. Wolf, Timber, Wolf. Do you have a single name we can go by?
Timber the Wolf?
No.
Or do we all have a single
for
name?
your
A
lot?
group name? Is that what you're saying?
Easier.
Well, we used to go by Heroes Imagine set, but that's very local, don't you think?
Timber barfs in the ground.
Oh man, there's just this chunk of bullywug that lands on the ground.
Timber.
He never coughs it up.
What? Oh.
Oh, just perfect. Ray, you're the one cleaning that up for asking the question.
We'll get back to you on that.
Just asking. It's all good. We can
that's totally fine.
logo these names and their epitaphs. All right.
Get the bard to think of
Epitaphs?
something good.
I meant
Epithets?
titles. I meant.
Epitaph.
Okay.
I just
Somebody's writing us off, I think.
It's a bit morbid.
just in case we need to create a statue.
Private Brian? Brian? What was it?
Bray.
Private Bray. I pretend to write on my hand, well knowing that he knows I don't have a piece of paper in my hand.
You see, Sorcerer just puts her hand back in her palm and she says, "All right, I think it's about time we all split ways."
Yes.
I've lost so much
Let's
blood
go.
today. You all have a
Let's
lovely
go.
evening, and I give him a big performer's bow.
Kieran, make sure to
Cal,
take the
stop
chest.
showing off. Let's go.
And I whip my coat around as I turn and leave.
Jesus.
As Horace smiles at you all and says, "Always a pleasure."
Thank you.
Say hello to the general for me. And again,
Thank you,
Certainly
Lieutenant.
will.
Mm.
Kieran's got
Good
that
day.
chest of gold and walks.
Okay, so you collect your gold, and you exit the Lawmaster's Tower. What would you like to do?
I believe a long
I think go to
Rest.
bed. It's a good
is in
idea.
order.
Yeah.
Shall we return to
Um,
the Furbolg's Tavern? What was it called again?
The Guavarine tooth.
Ah, yes. Guavari. Wonderful.
Yeah, that's
I
a
wanna-
good idea.
I want to write a letter to Saoirse.
Okay.
Wiswick,
Uh,
can it wait till we get back, please? So at least you have a hard surface to write on.
Well, I guess I could get Jet to send it later. I
Get
mean,
Chet to send it
10
later.
on the way, but alright, fine.
It's not a very large square, but you pass by and you walking. It's easier to walk through the park to get across to where the tavern is. So as you're walking through the park and you've got the canopy of oak branches, mostly deprived of leaves, although they're starting to bud. You pass by that fountain again. That ruined fountain in the center. And Kieran, you have a good passive perception, but I want you to give me a straight perception.
Alright, gotta find the dice that'll do the best, even though that's not how dice work.
You know, you always say that, and then you roll low, so maybe that is how dice work.
Oh, you can't
That-
see. It's a nat 20.
Yeah, so that is how
Yeah.
dice work, buddy.
You picked
So
the right
30,
one.
by the way. 30 is what that roll comes out.
Jesus.
Shit. So yeah, even if it was an impossible
Examining the
task, you've
fountain,
gotten
you
it.
see the molecules. And you're like, ah, yes, granite.
And suddenly you understand that Levine is not real. Just kidding.
I have to go.
no.
My
No,
whole
you
world.
pass by, and your mind has been somewhat. Your mind was on making sure your friends were okay, but also on that orb you found. But when you pass the fountain, you notice in the center there seems to be a socket in the statue on top of the fountain that has the sort of ruined, half broken statue. It seems it's concave, and it looks like the size of the orb you found.
Hold up, companions. He gives the chest to whoever's standing next to him, and he goes, "You're free to continue, but I think," takes out the orb. Is it still like uncomfortably wet?
Yes,
Oh, that's disgusting.
your cloak is soaked through.
Well, what's bad is you said uncomfortably. Like if you said any other modifier, it would have been fine.
It's a moist stone.
Moist. And then is this something where like Kieran has to like
Is it
climb
embarrassingly
up?
moist still? Like if that's the only one that would have been worse. I don't.
Kieran, it's not. I mean, it's you could easily step into the fountain and get to it.
And
Do you
then
want to place it in?
yes, so he's gonna take a second to look at it and be like, ugh, and then looks at the socket, and then
So you all turn and watch Kieran as he steps into the gross rainwater that is collected in this fountain, and he reaches up and you see this strange orb that you didn't remember seeing before that is brand new, and he places it in, and Kieran, as soon as you place it in, you get sucked into another dimension. No,
Damn it!
It locks in and begins the parts that look like to depict the sea foam of waves begins to glitter and glow, and you watch as the fountain starts to rejuvenate itself. The ruined, worn stone begins to turn to fresh marble, and the statue itself at the top rejuvenates itself. Wiswick, you would immediately notice that the statue at the top is the mage statue you saw in front of the spire. As the writing is restored on the although it is a language that you don't know necessarily. Water immediately begins to spray out of the fountain and fill it up. You get splashed a little, Kieran, but you're already kind of moistened of the orb. You all notice the sort of brown grass around you, kind of just starting to recover from the beginning of spring, all burst to bright green. The oak trees above begin grown almost as the branches twist and turn and open up, making that twisting tree sound the Ents make in Lord of the Rings. And their trees the branches immediately plume with vibrant oak leaves as this entire space seems to be rejuvenated, brought back to a place of prosperity, and little coming from the trees lighting up the entire park are these little ethereal insects that glow a bright golden hue that seem to come out of the oak trees themselves, lighting up the entire space as the sun is setting beneath the sky, restoring what's the name of this place?
Crackling Glen.
Restoring Godswind Grove.
So I'd like to imagine that Kieran backed up to like be in our line again, and so we're all in a nice big wide with our Winder's faces.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like you're all looking up. It's like that moment Groot let out all those glowing flowers in Guardians of the Galaxy, as you're all just looking up as these little insects fly around, harmless, and you feel the warm breeze and the lush life around you, restoring this park and the fountain completely restored, statue, plaque, water.
look at Iluvania's work all around.
Was it Vanya or was it the gem?
I have my hand on Kieran's shoulder and I go, well, I have to admit that was pretty cool.
Turning to Scarlet, Kieran reports, it was I that placed the gem in the fountain, found it, and only through Iluvania was I able to find it and bring it.
Well, that and you saw that it would fit.
It makes sense to me. Let's not ruin this, friends.
Kieran, do
a
you
lovely
have no
moment.
free will?
You're a wolf.
Oh, right. Go back in this corner.
Wiswick gets over the glamour pretty quickly and immediately recognizes the statue, and like his happy face turns kind of serious, and he begins a ritual for comprehend languages.
Okay. So that'll take about 10 minutes. So you all notice Wiswick immediately sit down in front of the fountain, the lights glittering across his face, and he goes from this awe as he looks at analytical face as he pulls out his spell book and starts to lay out his different reagents and begins muttering words as sigils start to glow around him as he prepares.
If I recall, this is very close to the tavern, right? Like it's like right
It
there.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could leave him here if you wanted to.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, well, Wiswick, we'll leave you to it then. Come on, friends.
I follow
Okay.
Cal. I follow Cal.
Yeah.
Kieran's
we're-
gonna stay with Wiswick.
I'm gonna go with Cal and Timber, but as we're walking in, can I look around and see if I could see a certain someone?
Hey, give me a perception.
I have
You're looking for
chest.
Toira?
I have the chest.
Yes.
You're looking for Toira, is it?
That's exactly what I'm looking for. 21.
21. Okay. So you don't see any sign of the individual you're looking for. You do see who is, as you're approaching, as Cal and everyone is walking in front of you, walking towards the entrance, Cal and everyone don't notice her, but you notice her as Cal steps up to the door to open it, and Tora just looks right up at Cal and goes, "Oh, you're coming back, are you now?"
Ha ha!
And she's
Hi.
just seems to be
Yes.
gardening at the edge of the wall of the the tavern. Just sort of, you see her taking these little plants and putting them into this small garden right outside. It's almost springtime.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Go check
So,
out
what you
Godwin's
did over-
Grove. It's really nice over there.
Oh, beautiful. Well, enjoy yourselves.
Yeah, you have a good night, Tora.
I'm sure I'll see you later.
Quick, yeah, you will probably. Before I see you, at least. So I'm gonna walk pretty quickly, just in and up the stairs and into my room, and I hide the chest under my bed.
Okay. What do the rest of you do?
I follow Cal into his room as a wolf.
What time is it right
Because
now?
It's
Tim-
about 6 o'clock around there.
Okay.
Sunset.
I'll go. Did we all have separate rooms? I don't remember.
You have your own room.
You were the only one with your own room.
That's
Because
right.
you were like, "Who's gonna room with me?" And we all went,
Yep. That's right. I remember that now.
I slept downstairs. I was supposed to sleep with you.
That's right. That's right.
Oh yeah, no, that's right. Well,
That's
no. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. You
Okay,
have 3
so
rooms. Scarlet, you have your own.
all right. I will go in and unload almost all of my gear, but I'm keeping my special dagger and one regular one.
Okay. So you're dropping all your stuff down, keeping the dagger and the special one.
Mm-hmm.
Special one, you mean the unfinished one or the new one you got?
I forgot about that one. I meant the unfinished one, but yeah. I'm gonna ask Kieran about that later when he comes back. Thank you for the reminder.
Like
so,
Oh
Sean,
no,
before
was it
we
you
go
or
back-
one of the magic people?
Before we go
Wiswick.
back to Kieran and Wizard, because I'm going to do a thing that might impact that a little bit.
Okay.
So Cal's up there in his room, and he puts the thing down, and he goes, I just carried a big weight up the stairs, and I'm putting it down. and he takes off his coat, and he goes to take his shirt off, and he looks at his shirt, and it's all like punctured, and there's blood all over it. And he kind of like hesitates for a second as he goes to take it off, and he goes. And he like pulls it back on, or what's left of it back on, and then buttons his coat over it so as to hide it, and then goes back downstairs.
Okay.
Do I notice any of this? 'Cause I'm in there.
I imagine Cal would kind of almost be ignoring you, Timber, as he's looking down at his blood-stained and punctured tunic. And then he would look, and Cal, you would also sort of like see through it and look at your flesh and just notice like.
So I wanted specifically not to yet.
Nope.
Or maybe I could like notice a little bit and then I stop.
Yeah, I'd say that the reason you stop as soon as you sort of see just the first flash of Scar.
Yeah.
As Cal is like, looking at his wounds and addressing it as he would, Timber is watching him, but transforming back into a humanoid, putting on his cloak, kind of still keeping an eye on Cal and his reactions to his wounds.
Yeah. So, and if that were the case, I thought he was still a wolf. If that were the case,
Timber's not saying anything to you. Timber's just looking over and just putting his.
So I'm stopping, right? I hesitate, and then I pull my coat back on, and I go, I'm going to head out. If you want to, you can come. I'm going to go stick with Kieran and Wiswick. I think it's only 3 minutes that way, so it's not exactly. If you want to catch up, you can. And then kind of heads out.
I'll catch up with you, Kill.
I like acknowledge it over my shoulder.
Okay.
And then, it's not important. I'm going to go down and order at the bar 2 skis, 2 beers, and an order of their weakest beer.
Paravel kind of looks at you funny and says, "Oh, you all look a bit different." Yep. Here we go. She's like, right up, coming.
I'm in full gear. It's the coat. It's high collar. Changes the framing of my face.
Well, I'm not here to pry. I'll just go get your drinks. And she returns shortly with on a nice platter, so you can carry it all.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say I'm taking these just outside, but I'll bring the glasses back, and my stuff's all still upstairs, so I'm not going anywhere.
No problem. I trust you, folk. You've spent a lot of coin here.
Thank you, Pavel. And then I leave, and then you could, however long it takes me.
Okay, no problem. So Scarlet, you would have stepped out and head down. Timber, are you staying in there for a little bit, or are you heading down too? Or are you trying to speak with someone?
Timber is going to stay in there for a little bit, just a little bit.
Okay.
He's not going to do a full meditation, but he's going to take the beads out and just kind of see what he can gather from it. Channeling through. Yes. That's all I want to say.
Go ahead and give me an.
Okay.
Scarlet, what would you like to do?
When I'm walking downstairs, would I have seen Cal at the bar?
Yeah, you would have. You just threw your stuff down and grabbed what you needed and started heading down.
All right, I'll just go over to Cal, and whatever process there. Maybe I'll see the tray of drinks or whatever. And was that for us?
Yeah. Yes. Ski or beer? I didn't know you were. I thought you were upstairs. I'm sorry. What would you like?
I'm good.
Okay. No problem.
Oh, would you like some water, dear?
Sure.
Coming right up. Brian.
12, Sean.
Brian. Okay. Quickly, Brian brings a skin of water for you. So, Timber, while you're up there, you start to focus a meditation on these beads. And you notice they're very well made. They're not expensive looking. They're made from cheap wood, but they're cared for in the process of making them and carving them. And each of the beads themselves have a little sigil on it of a little 8-pointed star on there. And you notice the symbol is For 4 points that are connected, and then 4 points within those points that are not connected. It's very similar to the sigil of the Gwyn Empire. You look at these and you sort of feel them in your hands. You try to concentrate them almost like you would on beads you've prayed with in the past. And you notice you don't feel the same presence when you touch them. And as you concentrate more and you kind of place them down in front of you and enter into your stance and your position and start to think and pray, the beads, you kind of close your eyes and mutter the words in your mind. When you open them, you look down at the beads and you reach out to touch them. And at your touch, they darken. The wood darkens to a black throughout the entire beaded necklace. A dark void consumes them for a moment. And you hear a slight searing. And then the void dissipates like smoke. You look down at the beads, and where the 8-pointed stars are, it looks as if the wood has been singed now. And there's streaks of burnt leaving from the singe marks. Almost, it now looks as if someone would those in there instead of carving them in there. And then this is perplexing for a moment, and you look up, and you see at your window the black owl. And it makes eye contact with you for one moment with those starry eyes, and then flutters off. You hear in your mind nothing. You think for a moment, you hear a voice. It fades quickly, because I don't want you to hear a voice anymore. Give me a history check with looking at the beads.
Okay. Not bad for not being proficient. 15. Another one. The second one on that.
Oh, that's good. You have very little knowledge of the Everflame religion other than what you're adjacent to. You've only seen beads like this once before. Then when I say like this, I mean singed. And you saw it at one point in Cabello when a traveling cleric came through town. And there's not a lot of devout Everflame followers there. They follow the Everflame, but they're not church-going necessarily. But the ones who were just flush with adoration for this traveling cleric. Whenever you saw folk interacting with him, you didn't like it. He seemed, in your eyes at least, to seem somewhat of a con man. But what they were gushing about were his singed beads, which amongst common folk and even some nobility amongst the Quintarchy, singed beads are a sign of blessing from the Everflame.
Got it. Timber smirks, picks them up, looks at them a little bit, looks at the detail of it, smirks at me more, and puts it on his, perks it's showing on his on his belt.
Excellent.
Then he covers himself up after showing, of course. Covers himself up completely, hood up, scarf, heads downstairs.
So back in the park, Wiswick, you are channeling your spell. It is coming close to completion as Kieran sits patiently beside you. Slowly, before the spell is completed, your friends begin to come back as Scarlet come back with a tray of boozy beverages. And then as the spell is completed, you notice Timber coming in to the park. And then it's completed. And you can see now the sigil of the ancient language written on the plaque come to life before you as you are about to understand the literal meaning. So what you can notice is there's a larger script at the top. And when you read them, it's strange because in your mind you still see the same sigils, but you understand their meaning, their rough. The top says, spaced out in a way where you can understand this is probably a first and last name, and it's quite literally the literal meaning of the first and last name. The first name is Friend of the God. And the last name comes Little Wizard.
Whoa.
And then the script says, in your best estimates of through the spell, benefactor of the lands of Magestone, creator of wonders, and patron of the people. May he live forever. And that's all.
No, shit. Guys, I'm sorry. I thought it was gonna be a really important clue, but it turns out it's just some stupid poem.
What's it say?
I dream the dreams of times gone by.
Oh, from what was the name of that play? I'm sorry, I saw it several years ago. It's the sad ones, right? That one?
Yeah, the leaky morose Roblies.
I believe it's pronounced miserable.
No, it's what?
No, yeah, that makes no sense. You're way off, Scarlet.
No, I'm pretty sure it was just called The Sad Ones, and it was what was it? Was it a Sivian? I think it's a Sivian play, right? I gotta look that up. I haven't
It's a
seen
Gwyn
it
play.
It's a Gwyn. You know what? I think it was a Gwyn play.
I thought it was a Snivnublin play. Which one are you talking about?
A lot, just to be honest. I love you very much, my friend, but I doubt that. And also, here's a beer.
Oh wow, they serve outdoors? Why haven't we been sitting out here the whole time?
Well, it wasn't nice then. I also passed the weakest beer to Stefan, or sorry, Kira, sorry. And then I gesture at, because I didn't expect Timber and Scarlet to come out here too, so I didn't order for them. But I gesture to the two skis and like kind of look around at everyone, but also
I
I'm
look
reaching
at
for one myself.
I look at him and I'm like, yeah, are those both for you?
No, one. I got one for you initially, but now there's more of us, so I don't know.
I pass my beer to Scarlet and I take the ski.
Timber takes the other ski.
Do it as a oh, bastard.
Ha! I pass Wiswick's beer back to him.
Okay.
So you each have a respective drink at this point. As you sort of, the sun is completely set by this point, and there's just the nighttime outside. You hear the sound of the nightlife as crickets chirp, and you notice beautiful insects above, and the full, lively oak trees now. That still, every now and then, you still hear the as they're just twisting and bending a little lifelike. As you notice, stepping out from the tavern is Valen, who is wearing his plain clothes that you saw him in, or that Scarlet saw him in earlier. And you notice at this point there are other folk now coming out of their homes, having noticed the rejuvenation of the park.
And that it's glowing.
And that it's glowing. Yeah. And you see families starting to come out of homes with their children who are jumping around and moving through the park, trying to catch these bugs. Every time they try to, they bring a hand through it, the bug just goes right through and sort of sparkles more as it comes out. You notice some of the graces from the abbey come out as well, and even Sorka, Freda Sorka, as she's heading home, stops in for a moment. She says, "Oh, it's fucking beautiful. This place used to be shite."
Look at what the light of Illuvania can do to those who believe.
Sean, end it there. Pull the camera back so it's just us sitting on a bench drinking, and all these people gathering around this glowing thing. And cut.
Yeah. And that's where I was going to cut.
Yes, I'm sorry I said it then.
And Valen sits down with you, just sort of smiles to each of you, and just, "You've done a good thing here."
To the will of Illuvania.
Drink your beer. Come on. Good naturedly. I'm not like.
As the camera pulls back, as you enjoy these beverages in the park at night, and appreciate what you've done for this town, both in saving some of its citizens, but also in bringing some light and joy in these dark times. That is where we'll end this session.
Woo!
And you're all level 6.
Woo!
Yay!
Yeah!
Dang.
Level 6. Level 6.
All
I
right.
haven't this planned forever.
Thank you, everyone who stuck with us through our many technical difficulties tonight.
Yeah, holy crap.
But thank you, everyone, absolutely, for sticking around. If you all came in late, check the video on demand. And we look forward to seeing you all next week. Hopefully we won't have any issues. And thanks for sticking around with us in Paradise.